obviously, a lot of the conversation today centering around my frustrations, having to watch Dillon Gabriel every day. This is a third-round pick that they're basically giving first-round reps to, first-team reps to, and he's struggling. He's a third-round pick for a reason, and he's struggling, Nick. It's disjointing practice a little bit from my perspective because they're not completing a lot of passes. They're not moving the football in the fashion that I feel they should be at this point in practice. I know Kevin Stefanski talked the other day. They're still doing installs, this, that, and the other. Look, they've been doing installs since the spring. And one of the things that is a strength for Dillon Gabriel is the mental side, the football acumen, right? His memory, his recall, his processing, all those things. Again, we're back to talking process, not product, because the product is hot garbage. So we got to lean on the processes being really, really good. But at some point, the processes need to lead to results, and we haven't seen that with Dillon. So I'm sitting here ranting and raving about how bad he is and how he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've watched come through. And while that for me is factually correct, it's also unfair that I'm having to do that because they have put this kid in that position for me to have to evaluate him like he's a first-round pick or a candidate start. Which, oh, by the way, Jimmy Haslam told us when we spoke to him last week, the days blend together. When he and D Haslam talked, he mentioned how we need to see the rookies this year.
Right.
So you're clearly preparing us to suffer through Dillon Gabriel starting football games this year.
Well, and just like, even if Jimmy didn't say that, right? Just being around this team for the last decade, you understand that that's how these things usually go. Like if Joe Flacco is unable to keep the car on the road, or Kenny Pickett, I guess, if he's the week one starter, is unable to keep the car on the road and keep the fans engaged in a 17-game season now, come week 6, week 7, if the record is bad and the season seems lost, we know how these things are going to go. We know the fans are going to, want to see Shedeur Sanders. I know you put out the post yesterday before the team had disclosed to you guys that it was shoulder soreness, that Dillon Gabriel was stinking up the joint so much that the fans at training camp were starting a little get Shedeur, like there were, you heard overheard fans say, put in Shedeur Sanders. Well, that's a sneak peek. That's a preview of what things are going to look like come October at Huntington Bank Field. I've lived through this movie before where if the starting quarterback doesn't look good, that dog pound is going to start buzzing. Shedeur Sanders, Shedeur Sanders.
No, so you've got to do it. You got to do it's Shedeur Sanders clap. You got to get the clapping in there.
That's what they're going to do when the football on the offensive side looks inept, regardless of who the starting quarterback is. Things get so loud if Shedeur Sanders outperforms Dillon Gabriel, because it's what like everybody's kind of secretly expecting to happen, because we know that the ceiling is higher with Shedeur and the floor probably is as well because of the intangibles, because he's bigger and he looks more like an NFL quarterback.
There's no secretly about it. We aren't expecting it because Dillon's been that bad on the practice field. Now, again, to be fair to that, he's had some good throws. It's not all been a disaster, but this week been a disaster.
I just wonder if it gets loud to a point.
Overexposed this week.
I wonder if it gets loud to a point where the Browns themselves are unable to ignore and unable to keep treating Shedeur Sanders as the 5th round pick that he is, because despite him being the 144th pick in the NFL draft, he might be the 2nd best quarterback on the roster behind Joe Flacco, maybe the 1st best if Flacco is completely washed. Like, I don't know that they're going to be able to keep hiding behind this developmental shield forever.
216-474-0092. Nick has me pondering, rooting for chaos. Really, is it a Browns training camp if we're not sitting here belly aching about their quarterback situation?
No.
Okay.
Well, we've
except for the Baker Mayfield years,
right? Because doesn't it feel like we're like back home, because we had the Baker years and then we had the Deshaun years, where the Deshaun, like this time during the Deshaun years, was always 216-474-0092. Can Deshaun Watson return to form? Can he get back to
is he allowed to play
MVP? Well, there was that too. That also happened. Right. But we spent a lot of time talking about can Deshaun turn back to form, and that didn't happen. So now it does feel like we're back home. We're back in our comfort zone of QB competition and carousel sports talk. We play in the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's last on the depth chart, by the way.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's why we're not talking about him. He's last on the depth chart.
This legendary organization that has all these Super Bowls. The Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, who's an MVP candidate every time he steps foot on the field. The Cincinnati Bengals, who have Joe Burrow and found a way to take care of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And you're calling up this show asking us about Tawa, the UFL running back from the Michigan Panthers, who had 356 rushing yards in the UFL. That's where we're at as right now. We play in the hardest division in football with teams that have actual Super Bowl. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed a quarterback that's going to retire after the year and get fitted for his gold jacket. And we have people calling the station asking for our thoughts on Tawa. That's where we're at. The Michigan because our running back that we drafted with the 36th overall pick spent a weekend in a Florida jail and still hasn't signed his rookie contract. We play in a division with Rodgers, Burrow, and Jackson. And our fans here are so fed up about Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders that we just fielded a phone call on August 3rd about Tawa.
Is that how you say his name?
I don't know how to say his name.
It's Tawa.
Okay, I'm sorry, Tawa. Thanks for your contribution to camp
Somehow
this year.
I knew that, which is why I asked if that's how you really say it.
He had 350. We're talking about a kid that had 350 rushing yards in the UFL. It wasn't like he was Barry Sanders.
You know what? I've never been happier to take a phone call than that.
That's where we're at. It's only August 3rd. We still have 20 football games to get through before I'm allowed to look at the mock draft.
How do you say his name again?
Tawa.
Yeah, I don't plan on having to say his name, so I'm just going to let you do it because I don't think he's making the team.
Tawa? What? Our pets' heads are falling off. Tawa.
Cats and dogs living to get mass hysteria.
Dude,
that's a Ghostbusters reference, by the way.
We had when this regime took over, man. They had Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, David Njoku. Like, you had the ingredients to have the greatest show on turf, and we're taking a call about Tawa, or whatever his name is. Tawa.
You know what? I just got done saying I was going to not have to say his name.
I can't do it.
You know what? I have never been prouder of myself for taking a phone call than that instance right there.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I get that the running back room is thin because Quinshawn, is got his own legal situation that's got to play out before he can put pen to paper.
It's not. I mean, you got Jerome Ford, you got Dillon Sampson, you got Pierre Strong.
Dude,
that's
there. The worst. That's one of the worst 3 running back rooms in the league, and the receiving room is the worst receiving room in the league.
Yeah, the receiving room is not great.
So what are we doing? Like, at what point do we get serious about scoring points? Is this going to be a season again where we're looking at the other teams across the National Football League and we're looking at the Browns being like, why can't you just look like that? Why can't you score 20 points on a given week? Remember that last year where Deshaun was out there and we were literally pleading with them as an offense, please score 20 points.
They couldn't do it.
Well, and the sauce to do it was when you let Nick Chubb touch the football 20 times. Well, guess what? Nick Chubb's gone. And now we're forced to take calls about Tawa. I think that's it.
Judges, do we have a correct pronunciation?
I'm excited for Tawa. Is that what everybody wants to hear? Daryl, they guaranteed. Could we just say in bold face print what happened here? Because I know what happened. They looked Dillon Gabriel in his eyes, and they guaranteed him that he would become a top 100 pick in the NFL draft. They went in, and that was their guy. They felt so good about him. So the fact that this could go as bad as it could go, I don't know that we can trust Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry to use these 2 first-round picks to identify their quarterback in the future in 2026. Dillon Gabriel was their guy. They assured him you'll be off the board in the top 100. We're not going to let the 5th round, 6th round grade that everybody else is giving you sway us from drafting you in the first 100.
All I know is that
Mistake.
Kyle McCord and Will Howard better not end up being better than Dillon Gabriel.
Or Shedeur.
Well, there's that too.
That's the piece of this. Like if Shedeur,
Details.
If Shedeur is really good, I don't know how they continue to hide behind Dillon Gabriel. I don't. Because
behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a short joke. That was a short joke.
Low-hanging fruit.
But seriously,
I should be better than that, but I'm not.
Seriously, if Shedeur Sanders lights it up this preseason and Dillon Gabriel continues to look like a pumpkin, how could you tell your fans in good faith and your locker room in good faith, what, because you drafted the dude 50 slots ahead of him?
Listen, I'm rooting for chaos at this point, okay?
Wow. August 3rd, we're rooting for chaos.
Rooting for chaos.
That kind of season, huh?
Rooting for chaos already. Okay?
What's that win total at? 5.5?
Go the under.
Like the under.
Really love the under there. I am rooting for Shedeur Sanders to just absolutely light the Carolina Panthers bagging grocery gang on fire Friday night in Carolina.
He's gonna.
I'm rooting for it.
He's gonna.
Rooting for chaos. That's where we're at right now. I want a little entertainment at training camp. Is it wrong that I'd like to be entertained at training camp a little bit?
Put me out there at
I'm
this
going to tell you right now, I'm not. Watching the defense, I'm entertained. I am absolutely not entertained watching that offense operate. It is absolutely painful. I equate it, and Nick, you weren't around for this. At least with Eric Mangini's training camps, yeah, the offense was putrid, but at least we got to watch the fat linemen run circles around the fields every time they messed up. We don't even get that. Okay? Like Alex Mack, that dude, they ought to name the edge of the practice fields in honor of Alex Mack. That's how many times he had to run. Right now, he ended up having a wonderful career and it paid, but I think to this day, Alex Mack does not want to talk about those 2 training camps under Eric Mangini because they were just such beasts, for these guys. But yeah, it is downright painful to watch this offense operate. They've not had a single day at camp where you're unequivocally, the offense won the day. Now, to be fair, they've had days at camp where offense made some plays. Quarterbacks made some plays today. But that's the lowest bar on the ladder. Let's be honest about that as well. Again, we're leaning into processes, looking and sounding and operating well. But we're not talking about the processes producing a quality product. And that's the issue that I have. That's the issue that I am most concerned about with this football team. The processes are not producing results. They're not producing a quality product. Again, they took 9 snaps inside the 10-yard line yesterday, 11 on 11. And I have to debate, did Robert Fannin Jr., would he really have scored that touchdown on the screen pass from Dillon Gabriel? Would that have been a touchdown? Because the rest of it, pretty much non-competitive. Not even close to being touchdowns being caught.
You know what the process is for fans? I hate to say it.
Drinking?
Yeah, mock drafts.
Okay.
Pro Football Network yesterday with the first pick.
Held that thought.
In the 2026 NFL Draft.
The New Orleans Saints select.
The Cleveland Browns select.
Now, see, I'm going to fight for that. I think the New Orleans Saints are the worst team in the NFL. The Browns at least have some talent.
They don't have the Saints. They've got this. Where are the Saints?
The Saints are The Saints are going to be unwatchable
Who
this
wrote
year.
this?
Like, they're going to be really, really bad.
They have the Saints with the 3rd pick.
Who they? Jacksonville too?
Jacksonville is the 8th pick.
Give me their top 5. Who do they have starting pick number 5, going up to 1? Who do we got?
The 5th pick, the Giants select Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, Bama.
Okay.
The 4th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Ruben Bain Jr., edge, Miami.
Bain, great
With the
name for a
3rd
football
pick,
player.
your New Orleans Saints select Caleb Downs, safety, the Ohio State University. And
Okay.
that's because with the 2nd pick, the New York Football Jets, 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 select Cade Klubnik, quarterback Clemson.
Okay.
And with the 1st pick, Jimmy Haslam selects Arch Manning,
Assuming Arch is even coming out.
quarterback Texas.
216-474-0092. We're already looking at mock drafts. It's going to be that kind of year.